Welcome back to the 2016-2017 NBA preview. Today we are covering the 15th ranked team on the preview, the Chicago Bulls. My name is Josh, your enviers, and with me today, like usual,
how's it going, guys? The king of the fourth quarter, aka Jaree, aka the biggest Bulls fan on YouTube. So this will be exciting.
The biggest Bulls fan. All right. So with that being said, there's a lot to talk about with this Bulls team. But before we do, let's talk about what they did last season. And since you're apparently the biggest Bulls fan, I'm just going to hand you the keys and let you just speak from the heart.
Sure.
What you saw last season as a Bulls fan.
As a Bulls fan, last season was disgusting. It really was. About February All-Star break, we were sitting at second or third in the Eastern Conference, and we finished not being in the playoffs. A lot of things happened in between that time, though. Joakim Noah gets injured on the season. Mike Dunleavy missed a huge part of the season, and honestly, Mike Dunleavy played a huge part in the team the past couple years, so him not being there hurt the team a lot. Of course, we had Fred Hoiberg coming to being our coach after Tom Thibodeau, and it seems like he didn't really have a hold on the locker room. Of course, we had the thing between Rose or Butler, who's the number one option, who's going to get the shots. It was just a huge mess last season, and I'm glad it's over and we're on to the next one.
It's good to see you let it all out. So let's take a look at what the Bulls did this offseason to improve. This offseason, the Bulls acquired Dwayne Wade, Rajon Rondo, Robin Lopez, Jerian Grant, Isaiah Cannon, lost Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Pau Gasol, and essentially their entire bench. Drafted Denzel Valentine at number 14 and Paul Zipser at number 48.
This offseason was definitely exciting as a Bulls fan because we haven't had this much hype during the offseason in a long time. Our biggest free agent signing was Pau Gasol a couple years ago, but we're usually really silent during this time, and it was nice to hear all the rumors and everything, but I think what we picked up and what we lost, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. There are some things that I really hated about this offseason.
Like the whole getting younger, we're rebuilding to, we're signing veteran guys type
Let's
anger.
Let's trade Derrick Rose to get more athletic and younger. Well, scratch that. Let's go get a 34-year-old Dwayne Wade and a 30-year-old Rajon Rondo. So, I mean, the front office has been confused. I don't think people outside Chicago really understand how much they're hated here in Chicago. But our front office is definitely hated here. It was just a lot of things that didn't really make sense. We brought in Fred Hoiberg last season because of his offensive skill. Space and pace was the way it's going to go. Get some shooters on the outside, run the floor. That was the plan. That failed. And now they're bringing in guys who completely are opposite of that idea. We know Dwayne Wade not to be a floor spacer. He can't shoot the three ball. Rajon Rondo, even though last year I think he had a pretty nice season as far as three-point shooting, not a three-point shooter. And Jimmy Butler has admitted to himself that he's not a good three-point shooter. So the space and pace is gone. Now Hoiberg has to figure something else out offensively. This is going to be an interesting season, but I don't think it's going to be a good of a season that a lot of people want.
How do you feel about the whole Fred Hoiberg's the best shooter on this team memes?
Well, that's disgusting. Because honestly, it may be true. It may be true. I mean, you still have Niko Mirotic, who at least his rookie season looked like he can shoot the ball. Last year, he wasn't the best. Kind of went through that sophomore slump that a lot of people go through. And then we have Doug McDermott, who I would say he can shoot the ball, but Hoiberg could definitely be the second or third best shooter on the team, and that's scary.
Yeah, that is. But I'm not there. I'm not in Chicago, so I don't know what people are talking about. But I feel like each and every GM of the NBA should try to make their team be competitive and be able to win a lot of games. Trading away Derrick Rose and then saying, we're going to rebuild. They saw an opportunity to get Rajon Rondo and Dwayne Wade to try to make that playoff push, and hopefully they're able to do so, because I feel like maybe at one point they thought they were going to tank, and then there was rumors about the whole Jimmy Butler to Minnesota if they were able to get Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn. I guess nothing's certain until signings start to happen, and I feel like what happened with the Bulls is probably the best bet, because each and every owner and GM, they want their team to do well. On paper, they put the best team available together they could this year, and we'll see in the rotation. Who knows how well the spacing is going to be.
It's definitely going to be tough. Three guys who love to have the ball in their hand on the court at the same time. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I can honestly say it's going to be interesting, but I don't see this team being nearly as good as they were a couple years ago.
So moving on to the rotation of the Chicago Bulls, the projected starting rotation looks like Rajon Rondo, Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler, Taj Gibson, and Robin Lopez, while their bench looks like Denzel Valentine, Tony Snell, Doug McDermott, Nikola Mirotic, and Bobby Portis.
The starter lineup is scary to me. Hopefully they decide to start Niko Mirotic over Taj Gibson, even though Taj has been in this league for so many years and still isn't a starter. But we need some type of spacing, and Taj is not going to do that, especially with Robin Lopez down low. Nico is our best bet to get any three-point shooting out on this team. So I'm hoping he starts over, but you never really know. Maybe that is going to be the legitimate starting lineup. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of that.
Probably not the best starting rotation, but it's going to be interesting to see what Fred Hoiberg does with this rotation. I could easily see, if things start going a little bit south, Fred Hoiberg putting Doug McDermott at that starting power forward position. Small ball. Small ball is the future. Small ball is the wave.
Especially because Doug McDermott can't defend anyone. He can defend anyone, not a small forward. And I really don't see him being able to guard a power forward in this league. So that would definitely be a small ball lineup that would not be the best defensive team.
I'm going to get killed for saying that. I know that for sure. Okay, I'll say this then. I'll say this. So with Rondo, Wade, and Butler, do you feel as a Bulls fan this team would be better with Rose instead of Rondo?
I think that they traded Rose
to get Wade and Rondo.
Wait, okay. That's a good question. Wait, let me think about that before I give my answer.
Because Rose is the hometown hero and everything, but the way he's been performing and the whole knee injuries, although Rajon Rondo is an upgrade, he's not younger than Rose. He's definitely a solid point guard in this league.
I think we would be better off with Rajon Rondo than Derrick Rose, but even saying that, I could not give you a legitimate reason why. I guess you can say the passing is better in Rondo than Rose, but in my eyes, they're two of the same player. Of course, their abilities are a little different, but neither of those players would honestly make this team better. So I guess I'd just go with Rondo on that. That's a really good question. It made me think about it, but I guess I'd say Rondo.
I mean, there's rumors of Rondo being a stat junkie, so.
Oh man, definitely. I watched a couple games of Sacramento, like after we got Rondo, because in one of my videos I mentioned exactly that just because I read it. But then I went back to actually watch the footage, and there were plenty of times where he would just pass the ball when he knew that the person he was giving it to was going to put the shot up. But then again, he led that team, or his team led the league in pace last year. So it's kind of confusing if you're looking at numbers, but when you watch that footage, you see exactly what we're talking about. And now we have him, who not really a scorer at all. We have Dwayne Wade, who scores most of his points in isolation, and Jimmy Butler, who scores most of his points with a combination of isolation and pick and roll. So I don't know how this is going to go this season, but I think all Bulls fans can agree that it'll be interesting.
Now, people may hate me for saying this, but the closest comparison I see with this team is the Toronto Raptors. DeMar DeRozan isn't the best three-point shooter. Dwayne Wade isn't either. Obviously, Kyle Lowry's a better shooter than Rondo and probably the better overall point guard at this point in his career. But this is essentially a different variation of the Toronto Raptors, in my opinion. Raptors are a very isolation-heavy team. So if Dwayne Wade is bringing all the ISO ball to the Bulls, that's an easy comparison right there.
You know what? I was going to compare it to another team. I was thinking of it more as Elfrid Payton, Victor Oladipo, and Evan Fournier from last year. That's the way I saw it, but an older version. So what that team could have been if they kept Victor Oladipo, just because
that team doesn't look that nice, though.
That team does not look nice, and that's why I'm saying it, because this Bulls team is going to look similar to that, but just an older version of it.
So best case scenario, a Toronto Raptors-esque team. Worst case, Magic? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. They have a lot of room to hit rock bottom or the ceiling. So we'll definitely see. Moving on to the projections for the Chicago Bulls team. We're talking quite a lot about it. Over, under, where do you see this team being? Last year, they were a 42-40 record.
So I think they will win more than 42 games, but it's going to be tough to watch. There's going to be times this season where the offense looks terrible, and there's going to be times this season where our defense looks great. So I'm going to say over 42, not that much. I'm going to go 44, 45 at the most.
I'm going to say 45 as well. I see that's a good peak for the Chicago Bulls team. Now, if you watched my last NBA preview, the Chicago Bulls team underperformed where I ranked them. And in that episode, I said that I've always thought of the Chicago Bulls as one of the most overrated teams in the NBA. You know, ESPN and every other outlet always talks about them. They're the second best team in the Eastern Conference. And I'm kind of happy that finally there's a reality check with the Chicago Bulls team, and they're going to be in the middle of the pack once again. I don't hear anybody talking about the Raptors. I don't hear any more outlets saying that they're the best team in the Eastern Conference, because I never felt that they were the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Just imagine what could have been. What could have been if it wasn't for those knees, man.
If Derrick Rose stayed healthy, I would love to hear people talking about the Bulls. But even after he went down, they were still projected to be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Some even said first, above LeBron James. I'm extremely excited for the Bulls' future and see where they end up. So with that said, this is where we see the Chicago Bulls. We could easily see them making the 8th to 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. Who knows? They might overperform. Let us know in the comment section below. Do you agree? Disagree? Do you feel like the Bulls should be higher or lower? Also, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like on this video and share it on any social media. It really helps the series grow and our channels as well. Speaking of our channels, all the links will be in the description for you guys to check out as well. With that said, hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Be looking out for the next episode tomorrow.
We'll talk to you then.